I do think if you pull the lens back a bit, you'll remember those years of Work Shall I Will, etc. We got through them. They're an incredibly impressive couple, greater than the sum of their parts, particularly when it comes to William. But one of the key problems is, with the departure of the Sussexes, and I think as humans we all need this, we all need someone to push off, to compete with in a healthy way. You remove any kind of competition. And at the same time, the predominantly right-wing press have pushed William and Kate up on this incredible, untouchable pedestal. So really, I think, to an extent, understandably, he pretty much feels he can do what he like. We've made him untouchable in some respects.
William's fear of Harry's return to the UK stems from a fundamental truth. His carefully constructed pedestal collapses the moment his brother sets foot on British soil. The predominantly right-wing press has elevated William and Kate to an untouchable status, creating a false sense of invincibility where William pretty much feels he can do what he likes, as observers have noted. This facade crumbled spectacularly in September when Harry's presence left everyone awestruck, while William emerged as a literal damp squib in comparison. The press has only themselves to blame. In their relentless campaign to destroy Harry and Meghan, they've made William and Kate, arguably the worst two royals, untouchable, leaving themselves saddled with two incredibly lazy, angry, jealous, envious heirs who won't step up no matter how desperately the media yanks their chain, because they simply don't have to. If William possessed even a modicum of intelligence, he doesn't. He'd follow Charles's playbook and disappear on holiday whenever Harry's in country, rather than pathetically scheduling competing engagements. Charles was smart enough to make himself scarce during Harry's September visits to Ukraine and Canada because he understands he can't compete with Harry's natural charisma. William, in his stupidity, still believes that accident of birth guarantees victory in any popularity contest with his brother, failing to grasp that hereditary succession doesn't determine who's more liked, loved, popular or charismatic. The real problem isn't the pedestal itself. It's that William is so idle and bereft of genuine accomplishments that the only way to praise him is by diminishing the Sussexes' work and successes, forcing the royal family and British media, let's not pretend these are separate entities, into a corner where they've overstated William's capabilities, created their own monster, and now find themselves with zero plan, descended into rapacious hand-wringing about what to do about the mess they've manufactured. The pedestal problem. The predominantly right-wing press has pushed William and Kate up onto this incredible, untouchable pedestal, and therein lies the fatal flaw in their entire strategy. This artificial elevation, built not on merit or genuine accomplishment but on relentless media manipulation, creates a peculiar vulnerability. The pedestal collapses the moment Harry appears. We saw it happen in September, didn't we? Everyone was awestruck by Harry's return, while William was literally a damp squib by comparison. The press has no one to blame but themselves, because in their frenzied effort to destroy Harry and Meghan, they've made William and Kate, arguably the worst two royals, untouchable. William's entire position depends on this carefully choreographed illusion rather than anything he's actually done, which means he's perpetually one Harry visit away from being exposed as the emperor with no clothes. He's so idle and bereft of accomplishments that the only way to praise him is to diminish the Sussexes' work and successes, a strategy that works brilliantly until Harry shows up in person and reminds everyone what actual charisma looks like. The September reckoning. When Harry's return shattered William's carefully constructed facade. When Harry returned in September, the public response was nothing short of extraordinary. People were visibly, palpably awestruck by his presence, his work, his sheer ability to command a room and capture hearts without even trying. William, meanwhile, appeared as what can only be described as a damp squib by comparison. Lackluster, unremarkable, utterly forgettable, despite whatever desperate counter-programming his handlers had scrambled to arrange. The contrast wasn't subtle. It was glaring, unmistakable, the kind of side-by-side comparison that exposes just how hollow and media-constructed William's entire image truly is. Because here's the thing the predominantly right-wing press doesn't want to admit. In their frenzied, years-long campaign to destroy Harry and Meghan, they've propped William up on this incredible, untouchable pedestal, inflating his minimal accomplishments and papering over his profound inadequacies until they've created a fiction so elaborate that reality itself has become the enemy. And when Harry, the real deal, the genuine article, the prince who actually connects with people, shows up and simply exists, the whole charade collapses like the house of cards it always was. The press's self-inflicted monster. The British media have, quite spectacularly, created their own nightmare scenario, and they have absolutely no one to blame but themselves. In their relentless years-long campaign to demolish Harry and Meghan, to destroy them utterly, to render them irrelevant, to punish them for daring to leave, the predominantly right-wing press inadvertently built an untouchable pedestal for William and Kate, propping up, quite possibly, the two laziest, most inadequate royals in recent history. They've overstated William's capabilities so dramatically, praised him so effusively for doing literally the bare minimum, that they've created a monster, an heir who genuinely believes he can do whatever he likes, who feels zero accountability, who understands that no matter how little he works, how petty he acts, how transparent his jealousy becomes, the press will continue their protection racket. And now they're stuck with two incredibly lazy, angry, envious heirs who will not step up, who will not work more, who will not rise to any occasion because they simply do not have to. And the media, for all their frantic chain-yanking and hand-wringing, have absolutely zero plan for what to do about the monster they've created. William and Kate's impunity, the consequences of manufactured untouchability. No matter how much yanking on a chain the press does, it won't change the fact that William and Kate will not step up and work more because they simply do not have to. The couple knows full well they face absolutely no real consequences for their chronic inactivity. The right-wing media has spent years constructing an impenetrable fortress around them, and now they're comfortably ensconced behind those walls, utterly immune to criticism or accountability. They've learned the fundamental lesson of their manufactured pedestal. Accident of birth guarantees their position regardless of effort, popularity, or basic competence. Why would they bother increasing their workload when their status is secure, no matter what? The press created this monster by overstating William's capabilities and shielding Kate's laziness in their desperate campaign to destroy Harry and Meghan. And now they're left frantically wringing their hands with zero plan for what to do about the entitled, work-shy heirs they've enabled. The British media made them untouchable, and William and Kate heard that message loud and clear. They can do what they like, and no amount of public pressure will change their calculus because the accident of their birth trumps everything else. William's flawed competitive strategy. William's instinct, whenever Harry sets foot on UK soil, is to frantically schedule more engagements, a desperate, transparent tactic that screams insecurity louder than any tabloid headline ever could. This isn't strategy, it's panic dressed up as productivity, revealing the profound poverty of his judgment and the hollowness at his core. He labours under the staggeringly stupid delusion that simply being the heir, that accident of birth, that cosmic lottery win he had precisely zero hand in, will automatically ensure his victory in any competition with his brother. But here's the thing William fundamentally fails to grasp, probably because no one in his sycophantic orbit has the spine to tell him. Accident of birth doesn't determine who is more liked, loved, popular or charismatic, and no amount of frantic diary filling will manufacture the substance, warmth and genuine connection that Harry effortlessly commands. Charles's strategic disappearance, the smart play William can't grasp. Remember, that's what Charles did? Charles literally made himself disappear when Harry was in the UK for September and all the events in Ukraine and Canada. That was the smart thing to do, because Charles knows he can't compete with Harry. Unlike his perpetually insecure son, Charles recognised the reality of the situation and responded with the one intelligent move available to him: strategic absence. He understood that no amount of scheduled engagements or manufactured photo opportunities could overcome Harry's natural charisma and genuine popularity with the public. So Charles simply vanished, refusing to participate in an unwinnable competition. It was a calculated retreat, the kind of tactical wisdom that comes from decades of navigating public perception. Wisdom that William, in his delusional belief that the accident of his birth automatically makes him superior, has never bothered to acquire. Charles couldn't match Harry's appeal, so he didn't try. He made himself scarce and let Harry have his moment without creating an embarrassing contrast that would only highlight his own deficiencies. William's hollow pedestal, a prince propped up by others' destruction. William is so idle and bereft of accomplishments that the only way to praise him is to diminish the Sussexes' work and successes. He simply cannot stand on his own merit. The predominantly right-wing press have pushed William and Kate up on this incredible, untouchable pedestal, overstating their capabilities to such an absurd degree that they've created their own monster. And now they have zero plan for what to do about it. The media must constantly tear down Harry and Meghan, because without that contrast, without that perpetual smearing and negative reporting, what exactly is left to say about William? He's too lazy to schedule meaningful engagements, too insecure to let his brother's natural charisma speak for itself, and too stupid to realise that accident of birth doesn't determine who is more liked, loved, popular or charismatic. The press have no one to blame but themselves. In their frenzied effort to destroy Harry and Meghan, they've made the two worst royals untouchable. And now they're left yanking on a chain attached to two incredibly lazy, angry, jealous, envious heirs who will not step up and work more because they simply do not have to. The royal family and media collapse. So the RF Charn British media, let us not pretend these are two different things, have overstated bullion capability, creating their own monster, and have zero plan for what to do about it. Have I got that right? In their rabid effort to destroy Harry and Meghan, the predominantly right-wing press pushed William and Kate up onto this incredible, untouchable pedestal. And now they're left with two incredibly lazy, angry, jealous, envious heirs who pretty much feel they can do what they like. The press has no one to blame but themselves. BC they made William and Kate, the worst two royals, untouchable. And no matter how much yanking on a chain the press does, it won't change the fact that William and Kate will not step up and work more. BC they simply do not have to. They've descended into rapacious hand-wringing about what to do about the crisis they engineered. William is so idle and bereft of accomplishments that the only way to praise him is to diminish the Sussexes' work and successes, and the media machine has no viable strategy to manage the uncontrollable monster they created.